Do you ever replay a 5-second moment for 5 days straight? A sentence you said, a look someone gave you, a tiny detail no one else probably noticed, but your brain refuses to let it go. Do you stare at a simple text like, "okay," and somehow turn it into a whole story? Are they angry? Bored? Done with you? Should you say something else? Or say nothing at all? Do you lie in bed at night and suddenly remember something embarrassing you did years ago, and it still makes your stomach drop? If this feels familiar, you're not just being dramatic. You might be someone whose mind is always on high alert. This video is for you, for the people who overthink every little thing until they feel completely tired of their own brain. Overthinking isn't just thinking a lot, it's thinking in circles. You don't just remember what happened, you analyze it from every angle. What you said, what they said, what they might have meant, what you should have said instead. What will happen next because of something that already happened? You scroll back through chats to check the exact words. You reread your own messages to see if you sounded weird. You look for hidden meanings in things that were probably simple. A normal thought might be, "I hope I didn't offend them." An overthinking spiral sounds more like, "They're definitely upset. They're going to pull away. I ruin everything. Why am I like this? I shouldn't talk to people at all." On the outside, you might look fine. You go to work, to class, to hang out. You laugh at jokes. You say, "I'm good," when people ask how you are. But inside, it's busy. It's loud. It's like having a browser open in your head with 20 tabs running at once, and none of them will close. It's easy to hate your overthinking, to call yourself annoying, intense, or broken, but your brain usually has a reason for doing what it does. Overthinking is often a kind of protection. If your brain has learned that things can suddenly go wrong, it tries to prevent that by predicting every possible danger. So it replays conversations to look for mistakes. It imagines worst-case scenarios to prepare you. It scans people's words and faces for signs of rejection. Your mind is basically saying, "If I can spot the problem early, maybe I can stop it from hurting me." At some point in your life, this might actually have helped. Maybe being careful kept you out of trouble. Maybe reading people's moods kept you safer. Maybe planning for the worst was the only way to feel slightly in control. The problem is, your brain doesn't always realize that the danger has passed. It keeps using the same old strategy in situations that are actually okay. So you end up treating a short text like a life or death situation. You treat a small mistake like proof that you are unlovable. You treat other people's silence like solid evidence that you did something wrong. People rarely become chronic overthinkers for no reason. Maybe you grew up around people who were unpredictable. Some days they were kind. Some days they were cold or angry, and you never knew why. So you started watching everything: their tone, their footsteps, their face when you spoke. You learned to scan for danger before it arrived. Or maybe you were constantly criticized. Nothing you did was good enough. Small mistakes were a big deal. You learned that one wrong move could change how people treated you. Or maybe you went through rejection, bullying, betrayal, or being laughed at for something you said or did. Your nervous system remembers this. It quietly promises, "We will never let that happen again." So it keeps you on guard. Overthinking becomes the price you pay for trying to feel safe. But there is a cost. Overthinking takes simple moments and turns them into exams. Sending a message feels like a test. Answering a question feels like a test. Trying something new feels like a test you're about to fail. So you delay decisions, you avoid conversations, you stay stuck in preparing instead of actually living. Over time, overthinking can make you exhausted, even if you did nothing all day. Afraid to trust good things because you're always waiting for them to break. Dependent on reassurance, but unable to fully believe it when you get it. Surrounded by people, but disconnected inside your own head. It doesn't just drain your mind, it shows up in your body too. Tight shoulders, jaw clenching, headaches, a stomach that never feels calm. To the outside world, you might look quiet, shy, or reserved. Inside, you're fighting 100 invisible battles at once. You're not too much, you're just too alone with it. If you overthink, you've probably heard, "You're reading too much into it. Just stop thinking about it. It's not that deep." So you learn to keep it to yourself. You apologize for being too much. You joke about your anxiety. You call yourself crazy before anyone else can. But you're not crazy. You are someone who notices things deeply. You pick up on small shifts in the room. You remember details. You care about the impact of your words. These are not flaws. They are actually strengths. They're just stuck in survival mode. The problem isn't that you feel deeply. It's that you've had to manage those feelings alone, with no one to tell you, "Your reactions make sense. You're not a problem to fix." There is no magic sentence that turns off overthinking, but there are small, gentle things that can loosen its grip. One step is to notice the moment when you leave reality and enter the story. Reality is, they replied with "okay." The story is, they are bored, angry, done with me. I ruined everything. Why do I exist? When you catch yourself in the story, you can pause and say, "I don't actually know what this means yet. My brain is filling in the blanks." You can ask yourself, "What facts do I have? What else could this mean if it wasn't secretly about how awful I am? If my friend told me this story, would I judge them as harshly as I'm judging myself?" Another step is to set a soft limit. You might tell yourself, "I'm allowed to think about this for 10 more minutes. Then I will gently put it down for today." You won't do this perfectly. Sometimes the thought will come back. That's okay. The point is not to control your mind, but to show it another option. It also helps to bring your body into the conversation. When you notice yourself spiraling, try something very small and physical. Take a few slow breaths, uncurl your shoulders, stretch your neck, stand up and walk to another room. Drink some water and really feel it. You're telling your nervous system, "We are here, in this moment. Right now there is no tiger, just a thought." For some people, talking to a therapist, counselor, or support group can be an important way to slowly unpack where all of this started, especially if it's tied to trauma, abuse, or long-term stress. Getting support doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're finally letting someone else help carry the weight. You're allowed to be imperfect. A big part of overthinking comes from the belief that you must perform perfectly to deserve love, respect, or safety. One awkward moment, one late reply, one clumsy sentence, and your brain screams, "Game over, you messed it up." But think about the people you like. Did you stop caring about someone because they replied a bit weird one day? Did you cut off a friend forever because they were quiet in one conversation? Probably not. Most relationships can survive a lot of small, human mistakes. You are allowed to sound awkward sometimes. Ask a stupid question. Change your mind. Send a second message to clarify. Learn while being imperfect. You don't have to earn your right to exist by always saying the exact right thing. You will upset people sometimes. You will misunderstand and be misunderstood. That's not a sign you're broken. That's just being a person. If you see yourself in this, you are not alone, and you are not a malfunctioning human. You are someone who learned to stay safe by thinking ahead, by predicting danger, by replaying every scene. That strategy may have helped you survive, but now you are allowed to ask, is this still helping me, or is it only hurting me? You don't have to switch off your depth. You don't have to become a carefree person who never thinks before they act. You just deserve a life where your thoughts don't attack you all day.